evening, everyone. My name's Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Wednesday, January 15th, 2014, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary video brought to you by wallstreettrading.com. If you have not been to the website yet, go check it out. There's a lot of free informative information in the blog section. At the same time, if you're interested in taking our education course or joining our proprietary trading firm to trade with us and reap the benefits of trading with the prop firms, you can contact me at ccooper at wallstreettrading.com or via the website, via that contact us button there. So aside from that, let's go ahead and take a look at the markets. The markets did continue and get a nice little follow through day from yesterday's bullish action and bullish reversal. We had the Dow close up 108 points. We had the Nasdaq close up close to 32 points. The S&P 500 closed up 9.5 points. If we take a look at the breadth in the markets, we had 4,131 issues advancing on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex. We had about 2,165 issues declining on the NYSE, Nasdaq, and the Amex. So about a 2-to-1 ratio there in favor of the bulls. 768 issues making new highs, 53 issues making new lows, guys. So today was a very bullish day. Just to highlight a couple of stocks that I see that stick out on my end. Microsoft up 2 3/4, Apple up 2%, Verizon up 2.5%. AMD up 4%, NTAP up 8.25%, Qualcomm up 1.5% for the tech sector. Tech sector, again, like we've been preaching here the whole time in our videos, tech sector is where you want to go. They're buying these growth stocks. Just take a look at NTAP. We talked about buying the data storage stocks, and now these stocks continue from the STX, EMC, WDC. And now we're starting to see some action in some of the semiconductor stocks pick up a little bit as well. CRM, Adobe, they're looking for that cloud space. I believe that technology, along with other people out there and a lot of other analysts, I believe that technology is the future, and that right now we're in a big cycle of just these, smart entrepreneurial people coming out with these cool gadgets and stuff like that. But aside from that, let's cut the short talk here. Financials up 2.25%, JP Morgan up 3%, Wells Fargo up 1 3/4, Citigroup up close to 2%. Some action in the banks. Banks were not that strong as the tech stocks, but they did pretty well. We're still seeing some weakness in the basic material stocks, even though we finally got a nice little balance in the coal stocks today. We're going to go over those names here shortly. Caterpillar performing pretty good. Conglomerates doing pretty well. GE, UTX. Healthcare, mixed action there. Consumer goods, mixed, and services, mixed. So if you were to ask me, looks like a lot of money was flowing into the technology and financial stocks, guys. That's what we like to see. All right, so let's go and take a look at this market, starting off with the S&P 500, the Spiders ETF SPY closed up 99 cents, up 0.5%, closing at 184.66. And you can see we actually made new highs on the Spiders, hitting a high 184.94. While on the ES, which you can see right here, we did not make a new high quite yet. The high is still up there at 1846.82. Today we hit a high of 1845.75. Actually, that's a high of 1846.50. We hit a high today of 1845.75. So we were off from making new highs about a point there, of course. So could that happen tomorrow? It possibly can. We would have to wait and see. But as far as the market goes, the uptrend continues to be intact. We're back above this little moving average sideways consolidation that we had right here when the moving averages were trading sideways. We did that nice little flash down, shook in some shorts, washing right back out, which fueled another move up here. So if we can get above this key channel that we've been highlighting to you guys here, and then break and hold above it, we'll be looking for that upside move. To show you guys a prime example, all right, of that moving average analysis here, just take a look at some of this. Just take a look how the channels play out when you break on top of the channel. When you break an upward channel, as you guys know, these things usually resolve to the downside. Here you're looking at our analysis that we were showing in the chat room on the ES here, which we use to trade our stocks intraday. 15-minute chart. Yesterday we formed a nice little channel here from that little low right here to this little high. So what I went ahead and did, and I can take out some of this stuff here to clean the chart up a bit. All right, actually, let me just go ahead and hide the drawings, hide the studies. So what I went ahead and did was I drew this nice little channel, right? We need point A, point B, and then point C. Draw your parallel channel from that pivot right there. drill a parallel channel. Then what happens? Of course, we broke out this nice consolidation range. We rallied up. And notice how we break the top of the channel. We pull back, and the top of the channel acts as support and makes that higher pivot low. That's a trade. So that's how these channels play out. I've seen this plenty of times as I've been trading for the past 5 years. I've been watching, trading channels and seeing how they trade. And if this ES does the same thing here, we could potentially get that nice little breakout and then pull back, touch the top of the channel, and keep on moving higher at the start of the new year. And then, of course, we'll start to see this accelerated trend line, form here and give us another little upward accelerated channel there. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Just wanted to keep you guys in line with how these channels work out, because we do have this nice little bull channel that we've been trading in since back here from the start of last year. All right, now we're at the top of that channel, trying to break it. All right, so we'll see how that plays out, folks. Action on the ES. Let me go ahead and show you how the ES looks on the big screen here. ES action. We had this nice little downward bullish channel here that I kind of missed out on. It wasn't. I didn't really realize it until one of my friends brought it to my attention, and that was kind of like yesterday afternoon during the lunchtime when I mentioned it in the midday market update. What you can see now, if we continue to hold above this top of this little channel from this little wave up, we could put some Fibonacci extensions from point 1, point 2, and that pivot low, point 3, and get those upward targets that we could possibly hit. So let me go ahead and do that right now. 1, 2, and then this right here for the 3 against this 1810 level there. And if we get a nice little move there, the ABC Fibonacci extension targets for the 100% move, that will take us up to 1903, so pretty much 1900. And then for at least 50%, it could take us over these highs and flashes towards 1856.79. Call it 1857, 61.8. Which sometimes when the market makes its last move up and it's not that strong and you get a chance to do an extension, sometimes the price will stop at that 61.8% and then reverse. So that's a possible target that could act as a magnet if this pattern plays out. That's around 1867, 68, call it 1870, and then we have this 1903. So we have a nice consolidation here on the ES that's at an angle on the S&P 500. You take a look at the IWM. The IWM is actually stronger than the other indices because it did not really pull back and get that little lower pivot low close. It's actually still maintained its range above that prior resistance, now support. So you have a nice little up move, sideways consolidation. This has a nice little horizontal channel bull flag, while the ES has a nice little downward channel bull flag in formation. And this thing, we've been tracking this on the IWM, the Russell 2000, which was up 86 cents today, 0.75%. The target on this, if it continues to move higher, will be up here towards 119. Again, you could trade that via the futures, the TF contract, the futures contract, which is symbols TF. And if you need access to a futures broker, I could definitely point you in the right direction. Or you could trade it via the ETFs TNA for when it's going up, TZA for when it's reversing back down intraday, if you want to play the back and forth action there. But so far, everything looks good pretty there. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ 100, up 72 cents, up 0.82%. Nice little channel here. Gonna highlight this to you guys yesterday. I actually adjusted the channel a little bit. Let me go ahead and change this to a different color so you can see it a little bit better here, and you can work off of that. Duplicate here. Voila. So right here we have our nice little channel. Let me go ahead and take this one out. All right, and it's looking pretty good. Triple Qs, NASDAQ 100 making a new high here. All right, which that equivalates to a new. Well, let's see. Let me take a look at the monthly chart here real quick. Let's see what we're working with. So studies. So we're trading back above the October 2000 highs. Well, actually, no, we're not. That's going to be the next target, guys. So the next target will be the October highs of the year 2000, which is right here at $90.25. We closed it at 88.37. So you can say we got about another $2 to the top side before we hit our next resistance, which is from the top of that candle. All right, and we already retraced about 61.8%. Over 61.8% of the tech bubble sell-off from the high of the year 2000 to the low that we made in October of 2002. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some stocks. Let's go ahead and finish going through these different indices, and of course, we'll take a look at the stocks. So bear with us, stick with us here. We're seeing some. What did the dollar do today? The dollar was actually strong today. All right, dollar strong, up 35 cents here. It looks like it may want to push back up. Of course, the dollar was strong. The euro did break down out of that little range it had on the 15-minute chart. All right, and the euro is still at this little channel support from this little trend line. Take this low, take this pivot low. It actually bounced right there. However, notice how it did put in a little lower pivot high here, right? So we have a possible downtrend. Right, we have a high, we have a low, we have a lower high. If we break below this 135.50 level, excuse me, we can possibly get another move down here, and we can be in the official little downtrend with the little downward channel there. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, we keep our eyes on the currencies to see how it relates to the different asset classes and how the money moves around a bit there. And then some of the guys here trades we trade currency. Some of the guys trade the currency futures contracts. Some guys trade spots. So we do it all, guys. Equities, currencies, futures, options. So make sure you do check out the website and get in contact with us if you're looking to partake in some of the stuff with us. So the volatility index, of course, every time it pops up, it gets smacked down. We mentioned that before, and it closed down. Well, actually, it didn't close down today. Pretty much closed flat. It did hold that $12 level there, but it did get smacked down from the little pop-up that it had. What's this on Monday? All right, and then it gapped down yesterday and still has a little support down here. One thing that catches my attention, if you take a look at the 5-minute chart on the VIX, all right, the VIX did, I would say the VIX held a nice bid today, on what this market did. Market made all-time highs. The VIX did not sell off and close on the lows. It actually held a nice little bid because you got some people buying protection there. Nothing to be too concerned about with at all right now. All right, let's take a look at the commodities real quick. Crude oil, nice little bounce there. Nice bounce in crude oil, bouncing up back above this 94 level. If we can continue to hold above 94, we'll be looking for a move back up towards these 97s. This thing could have another follow through day tomorrow. I'll be watching that for possible dip buys. You can trade that via the CL, the crude oil futures contract, or the USO, which is the ETF that's supposed to replicate the movement in the crude oil futures or the crude oil markets. All right, then you have gold. We'll take a look here at the GC. Again, these gold stocks, the gold broke out yesterday, then it pulled right back in. It broke out on Friday, had another fall today on Monday, then it pulled in yesterday. And today is, I guess, that safe haven trade's kind of fading out. But we're going to keep an eye on these names because the gold miners are still trading pretty decent. All right, they're actually starting to hold a little bit of a bid on some of those names here. For example, just take a look at the GDXJ. Gold was down today, but the gold miners were actually up. Take a look at the GDXJ up 1%. It has a nice little confirmed uptrend here. We have a low, we have a high, we have a higher pivot low, a higher pivot high. It's a nice little short-term confirmed uptrend. It all happened once it broke out this range and broke resistance, gapped up, pulled back, back test held, and now it rallied up. So that looks pretty good. And then same thing for the GDX, which should look a little bit similar to this, maybe a little bit different. But yeah, it looks pretty similar. GDXJ obviously looks stronger than this chart, guys. And that's about it. So let's go and take a look at some stocks here. Some names that I like that performed pretty well. Again, the technology sector is something that we've been talking about. Take a look at this NTAP. We've mentioned this to you guys last week. Now, if you asked me if I caught this trade, I would be lying to you if I told you yes. But at the same time, as long as you're looking at the right stuff, you're not going to catch everything. But if you're looking at the right stuff that moves, and you're doing a good job, first of all. The next step you want to do is making sure you have a system that allows you to participate in these trades, and that would be setting your alerts. All right, NTAP. Obviously, I wouldn't be looking to buy tomorrow right in the open, but if it was to sell off a little bit and do like a nice little intraday dip, that's definitely a stock we want to have on our radar. Looks like the reason why this thing moves up today, looking at my news feed, looks like they had a upgrade and their price target got upgraded to like say 42.5, 43 area, and now it's trading close, pretty strong trade at 43.5. Let me see how this played out intraday, and yeah, was shot up right out the gate, folks. Strong the whole day. What a monster move right there. Somebody really wanted that stock right there. I guess those computer models suggest that this thing was really undervalued, obviously, and they bought it right up. Let's see here. So you can take a look at NTAP, SNDK. I like the way this one's shaping up. Again, this one had a nice little move last week. It's a little bull flag action right here off this up move. This thing breaks over yesterday's highs. It can get going. They have earnings next week, so be careful with that. It may chop around until the earnings. Who knows? But just keep this one on your radar. The chart looks good. Qualcomm, another stock that we're watching here. Qualcomm, the semiconductors have been moving. Intel got upgraded yesterday, got upgraded again today. Today it was upgraded at BMO Capital. Yesterday, I believe it was upgraded at JP Morgan. But these semiconductor stocks are starting to move. I like Qualcomm because you have a nice little up move right here, a little sideways tight consolidation that's been trading this little range since November 25th or so. And now we made a new high, and they have earnings coming out next week, and these tech stocks are moving. Guys, a lot of people are looking to put their money to work in that space. XLNX got upgraded this morning too, another tech stock. And these tech stock upgrades, they're just, they're gapping and going, especially if they're located on the chart at a good area. They're just moving. So you have XLNX, another tech stock, another semiconductor stock, hit that resistance at 47.50 and backed off a bit. May need to consolidate sideways, but again, keep a close eye on these semis. TXN. All right, that semiconductor looks pretty good as well. They have earnings out next Monday. What are some other stocks? Let's go take a look at Apple. Let's see what Apple is trading. I mean, you have some crazy guy on Fast Money that was, well, I agree with some of the stuff he says, or that he was saying, but he was talking about how Apple pays little to no money to their guys that are working at the Foxconn plants, and how the upper 1% control the economy. That's when they started asking him if he was a socialist or something like that. That's when it started getting a little bit out of control on Fast Money with him. But either way, Apple, regardless of how much they pay their employees, whatever the stock's trading, we just look at technicals over here. We let the other guys handle that stuff. Apple gapped up today and went. Looks pretty good. I mean, they got that China mobile news in the pipeline. They start selling those phones, I believe, on Friday. They said so. Monday they're going to have at least some numbers for the weekend sales or something like that. So this stock can maybe have some more short-term momentum in the coming weeks. Keep an eye out on that. That's what I heard on the radio this morning, or I believe on Bloomberg. So I hope I'm not saying that incorrectly. But keep an eye on that. Amazon, pretty quiet today. Definitely want to make sure I look at Amazon. Same thing for Google. Google's quiet today. Amazon's still holding this nice little base above 390. Not really much to talk about there, guys. Google, flat today, down 78 cents, 0.07%. Not really relevant at all. It's just pretty much a pause day. The stock has been on a tear. Notice how Google is in a nice little accelerated uptrend channel as well. You can see how that's causing the stock to move around a bit there, around these key little trend lines from the channel, which could be adjusted a little bit as well. If I could put up this little higher pivot that it made right there, you can see how it got respected right there in that little range against that resistance and broke out above it. But either way, Google, cruising along the moving averages, still looking pretty nice and tight there. I want to look at IBM to see if this thing has been able to catch a nice little bid. Up $1.82 today, up $1.82 today, up 1%. Rallied up, pulled back to that nice little bottom of this little supply zone, prior supply zone we had there. Since prices actions above, I like to call it demand now. But in any case, it looks pretty good. IBM, this could be a little higher pivot low for another leg up. We'll see how that plays out. Price line, I want to take a look at this to see how it's trading. Another big stock we have to make sure we watch is to kind of get a gauge of these large companies here, and especially in the services and tech space, a bit there. So price line, nice little high base, still looking pretty good. Of course, I don't trade this stock, but as long as these big stocks are looking good, that means things are kind of all right. So we like to take a look at them. Price line, let's take a look at CMG. CMG had the breakout last week, and then it pulled back in, and it's really just kind of been chopping around this 530 area. Not much there. Tesla. All right, Tesla was in play yesterday, gapped up today, and then faded down a bit. Really didn't do much here. Again, Tesla's probably going to need to build like a little higher base up here before it can get some action. Netflix. All right, Netflix was down $7.58, down 2.25%. I'm not sure if they got downgraded this morning. We talked about this 100-day moving average right here, and you can obviously see once it broke that 100-day moving average, price got marked down. However, buyers were right there to pick it back up, and it was able to close above that 100-day exponential moving average. It did not close above the simple, but it closed above the exponential. But they're Both of them are just right there, so it's pretty close. Now, what are some stocks that are looking pretty good? We talked about Qualcomm. I didn't bring up CLAC, but you can take a look at CLAC as well. Bank of America came out with their earnings numbers today. The stock is up another 2.25%. All right, hit our 100% target from our little ABC move here, and of course you can see possibly why they sold that. There's that target got hit. Guys, these Fibonacci extensions are pretty cool and pretty good to use to help you manage your trade and project targets, especially in areas where price has not been before in a while. Or if you're looking at a chart that is trading in a new price zone area and look for levels to expect sellers at or profit takers, you could say. So Bank of America up there pretty nice. JP Morgan, I was just looking at the chart and looks like it had a nice little big day today, up 3%, as these bank stocks are getting momentum. And that's not a really surprise for the fact they have been trading up pretty nice. JP Morgan up move, a little sideways, a little channel right there, and that so far is playing out, and just put a little pivot. So you probably have some guys looking to buy JP Morgan with a stop underneath that little higher pivot low, looking for the next leg up, which this thing could rally all the way back up to like 62, 64 area now going forward. Then let's take a look at that Morgan Stanley, since we have a nice little channel on that chart. And Morgan Stanley back above that 50, made a new high, and that compression pattern that did the little shakeout right here yesterday is in full effect. So make sure you keep an eye on Morgan Stanley tomorrow. The target's going to be the top of this channel in the coming days, if not weeks. There, keep an eye on that right there. Coal stocks are back in play, folks. CNX, which has been the best in breed in the group here, looking pretty good for another breakout. They have earnings coming out next week. I think they're going to be buying. I think they're going to be performing. I think they're going to do pretty well on their earnings report. Even if they lose money, or if they lost money, I should say, I think they're probably it's going to be less than expected. So that's going to be bullish on the sector, since it's already a beat down sector. And this is the best looking chart in the coal space. So take a look at Console Energy, CNX. You can also take a look at some of these other names that were giddy upping a little bit earlier, but they pulled back a bit, like WLT, which had some buys in there today. Taking a look at these 6-minute time frames, and they look like they want to get some action, up move, sideways action. You see it try to break out into the close, but then it pulled back in. But that one, looks a little bit alright. I really don't like it that much for the fact that if I take off these studies here, you can see this nice little upward trend line from this little pivot low to this little pivot low, this pivot low. We're still below that trend line, so I would like to see it get back above 15 and stabilize, and then try to get a position off of a high base to manage my risk, to kind of get more conviction. But of course, if you think this is going to go up, then you can definitely pick a little bit up right here and try to work a stop underneath the low from Monday. It's going to take a look at A&R. A&R has a good chart, a nice looking chart as well. And I know I'm speeding through this video, guys. I've got to head out, take care of some things here, so I'm just trying to make sure I get you guys this video before I leave the office. But CNX looks pretty good. I really like the way that these regional banks are looking as well. I did not get to cover those, but check those out. Zion, ZION, and FITB, Fifth Third Bank. Fifth Third Bank, is that Fifth Third Bank, FITB. These regional banks are catching a bit as well, along with the money center banks and the regular other banks out there. Goldman Sachs. Let's take a look at this bad boy right here, up $2.15. Looks to me that Goldman Sachs is possibly going to put in a higher pivot low in front of that little trend line that we were looking for, that back test, and start moving back up. So keep an eye on Goldman Sachs tomorrow. If this thing could get back above 180 and hold, it'll look pretty good. And they also have earnings tomorrow before the market opens, so that's definitely going to be a mover. We definitely will be tracking that stock tomorrow in our chat room, so come check us out, mywallstreettv.com. I like RRC. RRC looks pretty good. We mentioned this name before. The stock is trading. The stock is trying to break out this range it was trading in for most of 2012, between the 72 and 82 level. If we can get this stock to close on a couple of consecutive bases above this 82.50, I think the stock's going to be a good stock to hold for the first part of the quarter, especially if you're looking for some exposure to that natural gas energy space, natural resource space. I would have to look at some of the reports on this company to see what type of stuff they have going on in their pipeline, as far as energy findings, and whatever things they derive their revenue from. I will have to do some more research, but technically speaking, the chart looks pretty good on the monthly, the weekly, and definitely something you want to make sure you keep your eyes on Volume starting to pick up there. Let's see here. ACAM, Priceline, Adobe. Again, MCP. Some of these basic material stocks are moving. All right, MCP looks like it put a nice little higher pivot base in here in front of that 520 level. You could take a look at some biotechs that are looking pretty good, folks. Amgen looks like it has a nice little breakout. If it can get above this little 119 level, you get some action there, especially since the biotechs have been in play. I'm pretty sure there will be some people willing to trade that breakout to that level there. GILD, which looks like it has a held off on the daily charts at in front of the 60 76 level, but keep an eye on this name as well here. Got a range at 70 and 76, and now it's trading in the upper 50% range, consolidating below that resistance. So keep an eye on that name. The biotechs really get going, and people are looking to buy biotech stocks. And the agriculture stocks, I'll leave you guys. I'll leave with this one here. Yes, I am only bringing up bullish sectors, but if you want to take a look at some weak sectors, retail looks pretty weak. Baidu looks like it wants to move down a little bit. But CF looks pretty good. All right, Potash, which really started getting some momentum once they started talking about it on Fast Money on Monday. All right, or a little bit last week. This thing's been taking off, and we've been telling the guys in our room to watch the ag stocks, but this one's been doing pretty well. So that's about it, folks. Hope you guys like the video. I know I talk fast in the video, but bear with me. Just keep up. And if you're looking to come trade with our firm, contact me. We got a lot of good stuff in the pipeline, folks. Have a great day. Have a great night. Cheers.